Hello everybody, this is Silver Dragon from Qubetubers.com, and this is my review of X3 Albion Prelude. X3 Albion Prelude is the expansion for X3 Terran Conflict, a space-based sandbox game in which you trade, build, fight, and think your way from a humble pilot to the ruler of a galaxy-wide empire. Haha, fear my empire. Anyway, X3 Albion Prelude's story basically bridges the gap between Terran Conflict and a new game which hopefully will be releasing next year, X3 Rebirth, which looks absolutely amazing. Oh my god, nerdgasm. Anyway, and the conflict between the Terrans and the Argon Federation, which started with the destruction of the Earth Taurus Ring. Starting from the graphics side of things, Albion Prelude looks just as amazing as Terran Conflict did, with various spacescapes, with massive planets, moons, asteroid belts, and just amazing backgrounds to view while you move through space in your lovely ship. There have been a few changes that have improved performance for higher-end machines, as well as adding a view distance slider that can greatly improve performance in certain situations. There have also been a couple changes to the UI, which adds various graphs that help show your economic development, how much money you've gained over time, how many ships you own, the profitability of some of your stations, and so on. Also, one of the new features that was added in, the stock exchange, is a welcome addition to the think aspect of the X series. The stock exchange basically allows you to invest in various companies or items in the local stock exchange once you have acquired and maintain at least a neutral reputation with the race you're trying to trade with. There are a few ways you can actually affect the supply and demand that may raise or lower the value of the stocks, or you can just kick back and relax and watch the index go up and down dynamically. It's a really interesting and fun feature that adds a lot to the think aspect of it, which is really nice to see. There have also been some smaller changes, such as adding new commands for fleets, making upgrading groups of ships easier at shipyards and your personal headquarters, and there has also been some rebalancing for missiles that have made them far deadlier in combat, making missile frigates a prime target in battle. And then to counter those enhancements, there are also the addition of the Mosquito missile defense system, which shoots down incoming missiles. Doesn't work all the time, but it's a really good system. Some other rebalances include stronger hull on many of the ships, which makes for longer, more interesting dogfights, and also improvements to the out-of-sector combat, which for previously, if you weren't in the sector with your ships, there would be a very good chance they would all be blown to little bitty bits, which kind of sucks considering how expensive a lot of them are. But now they have a much better chance of surviving, which is really nice, without you having to be there, especially if you happen to be in the system and just lazing around, not doing anything. Anyway, and thus that brings us to the meat of the expansion, the war update. And herein lies my greatest hopes and greatest disappointment. When I first got involved in the war, I would get messages from time to time from the Terran commander informing me that I needed to join in the battle to aid said sector, assist them in taking it over, or help defend Sector B, and in some cases they would ask me to build defenses in one sector. Although this was really fun to begin with, I was having a good time assisting them, capturing sectors, securing them for a while. In the end, as time went by, it started to become a pointless endeavor, as an infinite amount of enemy fleets would just warp back into those hard-fought sectors that we shed our blood and precious metal for, as it were, to secure and just recapture it again. There was no real way for this war to end, and although that made sense from a lore standpoint, from a gameplay standpoint it was kind of disappointing. I would have liked to see a more in-depth style of taking over sectors, as there was only a set amount of sectors in one area that are actually in conflict, and they're constantly in conflict. There's no real progression through them. You can't start in Sector A and then have to go to Sector B in order to get to Sector C in a line. You can just warp into any sector, take that sector over, and then lose it again the moment you leave, and they just warp in. One of the greatest defenders for the Terrans is the asteroid belt. At one point, I just ignored the war entirely, and I would get updates several times during my play sessions. Asteroid belt has been taken. Asteroid belt has been secured. Asteroid belt has been taken. And it just became an annoying feature over time, and I was just hoping for more depth to it, but it just wasn't there. Overall, though, this has been a pretty nice expansion that has had a few welcome changes, as well as bridging the gap lore-wise between Terran Conflict and X Rebirth. However, the main focus of this expansion was the war between the Argons and the Terrans, and personally, to me, that aspect just fell short from what I was hoping for. As such, I'm going to have to give X3 Albion Prelude a 7 out of 10.